And talking of Chelsea, the men's team, this is what they've done this summer. Always working it, always getting money in, always selling their players or loaning them out. That's the right-hand side of your screen. On the left, just Marcus Bettinelli in from Fulham, freed the goalkeeper, and there he is. Romelu Lukaku in for $135 million, and he is already off the mark and scoring back in the blue of Chelsea. Let's take you back live to the Sky Studios in West London and our Premier League insider, David Ornstein. So, they got Romelu Lukaku. David, was he their first choice?
Well, listen, I'm going to praise Chelsea's recruitment operation until the cows come home. Roman Abramovich at the top, Marina Granovskaya, the director. There are not many better in the industry. But their initial hope this summer was to go for Erling Haaland of Borussia Dortmund. That just wasn't going to be possible. Dortmund don't want to sell until his release clause of around 75 million euros comes into effect in the summer of 2022. So Chelsea, as they do, they turned straight to their next target and they got it done. Romelu Lukaku, almost £100 million. He had unfinished business at Chelsea, of course, because he left a decade earlier and they were the club he supported as a boy. He always wanted to come back and finish that story, but it wasn't easy. Inter Milan, despite their very difficult financial situation, tried as they might to hold on to him. He said he was happy to stay, but if they were going to do business, then it was Chelsea he wanted to go to. Now, his agent, Federico Pastorella, has a very close relationship with Marina Granovskaya. They've done a lot of business together. They get on well, and that sort of greased the wheels a little bit. He started talking to players at Chelsea. He knows. He was excited about the challenge once he knew Inter were ready to cash in. And the deal very swiftly got done. He hit the ground running, immediately scoring at Arsenal on his debut. I think this is an amazing signing that will help push Chelsea onto even more major honours. They're a winning machine. They didn't manage to get the other target, Jules Koundé, before the deadline, but they have got Saul Niguez by the looks of it. So, a good window for Chelsea.
Indeed. Saul should be arriving at Chelsea. We're waiting for confirmation on loan with an option to buy from Atletico Madrid. He's a midfielder. Haaland would have been out of this world.
Yep.
But Lukaku's not a bad plan B.
Well, the mentality that he brings, the leadership that he brings, and that he's so different. That's what I like about it, Rebecca. And I think in the Premier League, I think that physicality, that winning mentality that he's got now will help the players around him. You could probably say, arguably, last season that Chelsea's attack was a little lightweight. It was a little kind of tippy-tappy around the box. They struggled to create the chances. It's very different now. I've rarely seen a team's attacking play change so much from signing one player. That's what he brings them. He brings others into the game. And just how different he is makes it a fantastic signing. When you could think about how Chelsea can get better from last year, a different type of striker was a big part of that.
I mentioned Marina Granovskaya, and she doesn't half do a good job. And if you certainly look at the players that go out, how they manage to balance the books and yet spend $135 million on Lukaku, and it doesn't seem to make a dent.
It's ridiculous. I noticed one name on that list, Rebecca, Victor Moses. They still got $6 million for Victor Moses. He's older than me, but and they're still somehow finding money. But I'll go back to the Lukaku thing. And in fairness, I don't think it's a plan B. I think it's a plan A-. I think they identify, they execute, they get the job done, and they've got the job done in Lukaku. And what I like, as Rob said, is the options that he gives the team, and they can play into him. He's a bit Didier Drogba-like in how he can roll people and play with physicality. But the other thing I really like that came out of the game at Liverpool was the incident when Salah scored the goal, Henderson went to get the ball, and Mendy and Henderson had a little bit, and there was a little spat, and there was a little pushing and shoving. And Big Rom come running back, and he buffed his chest out, and he got his players behind him, and he's brought a bit of presence, that Rob says, a bit of physicality, a bit of, listen, you can buy all the players you want, you can great talent, but titles are won sometimes by a bit of spirit and character. And he's brought an edge to Chelsea that's going to be important for them during the season. Maybe when the football's not going well, or maybe when teams try and be physical. You go to Burnley away at Turf Moor, and they try and turn it on.
Yeah, absolutely. You played with him at Everton, and I get the sense that he's wanted to get back to Chelsea for a long time now. What's he like as a person? It feels like he has something to prove, Tim.
Well, he does, and he's a brilliant teammate. He's this diplomatic leader, as Tuchel calls him. He speaks a ton of different languages. He welcomes the guys with open arms, and he's a big character. He's a big character. I think on the football pitch, yes, we talk about the goal immediately at Arsenal. Here's what he brings. I thought Van Dijk did a great job at Liverpool. He nullified Lukaku. didn't have a brilliant game because he was so... What it did was it made... Because he pins Van Dijk, even though Van Dijk wins the battle, it brings Matip around, which frees up space for the likes of Mount and Havertz, which means Liverpool have to come narrow. It opens up space in the wide areas for the fullbacks and the wing-backs. And we know Tuchel, he can put a plan together like nobody else. And so he's brilliant.
Also, what he brings, we haven't seen it too much yet, is the counter-attack threat. You know, the ball in behind, he's brilliant in making those runs, as well as the deep balls into his feet. Counter-attack is going to be...
Well, Chelsea had the better... They're down a man in the second half. And we talked about it. They had the better opportunities. If not for a brilliant block from Matip, it's because of the counter-attack opportunities,
We had a very quick chat with Graham Millisseau and Lee Dixon on the phone the other week. Just out of interest, if you had the option to sign either Kane or Lukaku, who would you sign?
Lukaku, for me.
Kane. He wants to sign Kane, doesn't he?
I mean, we're only on till 8 p.m, so... Oh, OK. So no English bias in this studio at all. Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch highlights all season long, and be sure to tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend at 7 a.m. Eastern. And for even more content, head over to Peacock, where we've got live games, original series and a dedicated round-the-clock Premier League channel featuring studio shows, classic matches and much more.